Good afternoon, everyone. Today we have with us Mr. Suman Parimal. He is partner and chief analyst of 5 Joules research firm. He is a GMP alumni of 2004-5 batch. Recently, he became the only Indian to win the online competition hosted by Forbes of IT experts all over the world. He has also been featured in topmost thought leader in areas of disruptive technologies, blockchain, AI, ML, and etc. Today he will talk on how India will become a $5 trillion economy using innovation and brand image. And please welcome to
I could not resist the invitation by the President GMP back for too long. I know 1 month back they sent the invitation, but I was really busy, in traveling, and last 10 days I'm traveling, but still I came to Ranchi, then I thought, okay, let me go to Jamshedpur also to fulfill my commitment, to talk to you guys, and it's a really great honor to be here. And talking to you guys and seeing such a growth in GMP batch here. And the things are streamlined when I joined in 2004. When the GMP was first time open for the non-TID Tata people, not non-TID Tata institutes, and I was the so-called, so my batch was so-called first batch of GMP, though the GMP was running since 90s, maybe 10 years. GMP was the 10-year older when I joined in 2004. But for Open GMP was the first time when I entered here. And at that time I was working in the Steel Authority of India Limited, Ranchi. I was posted to Ranchi, and I took study leave to come here and do my GMP courses. And then at that time I personally met 2-3 times to director to push the demand for bringing placement to GMP. And another thing is to making it a postgraduate diploma. And when I was completing my course, I came to know that both of these demands were agreed by management, and from the 2006, I think 2005 and 2006 batch, they actually started placements, and they actually started offering the postgraduate diploma in general management. So it's like after 15 years, I could see that those efforts and those visions which we 2000 batch fellows we started, finally fulfilled here, and such a vast batch background here. And I came to know that among you also that the students who are having the 15 years of experience, and my batch also a couple of students were there with the 15 years of experience, and I came to GMP after working 10 years. So I think the same pattern is running right now. So this gives a unique characteristic to the GMP program. It's the experience when coming to the college for getting the further knowledge of the management. So I think the same zeal and same gist will prevail in the GMP and your next coming batches also. And I wish all the best for you guys passing out this course and taking the jobs in your careers in the respective field. And also because now the next batch recruitment is going on, so I also wish them all the best. So, what's your expectation in interacting? No, I have like, I just kept the slide format, but we can go offline also from this format. If you have any specific questions, so we can take that also. But just like I thought, there are a couple of areas, like this area I'm researching since quite some time, and thought, and this is the hot topic in the country right now, whether we are going to touch 5 trillion mark or not. So I'm not an economist, whatever researcher background I have, from that background, I'm coming to present here. But you guys have, if you know any idea you want to listen on any other things, then you can let me know very frankly. Whatever experience I have from that, I can reply on those topics, and address those topics. So basically, I said, let me stitch these 4 things together: innovation, disruption, startup, growth. So this is the strategy, the typical economist may not be having all the 4 components, but as a researcher and analyst, I am bringing this 4 components together. I'm saying this is the strategy towards the 5 trillion economy. So apart from this, what else you like to hear? And this may not be always on this topic. There will be mixing. There will be some global perspective also in the presentation. And recently, I did a presentation in Karnataka Tech Entrepreneur Summit 2022. So there I was mostly focusing on the role of startups for 5 trillion economy. So some pieces and some perspective of that presentation is also here. So in nutshell, this is the theme what I have brought here. And like anything else, you can always interrupt me and ask me. Sure. So anything else right now, or shall I start with this? Yeah, sure. Good. So many of you might be knowing, as an analyst, I remain publishing my own research and global perspective. And last year I was invited by Force, the reputed Force magazine, to be part of their AI panel, which they configured online. They first send the invitation after scrutiny, and then they kind of bounce you with a couple of questions to judge whether you are actually fitting to their requirement or not. So I got selected, and then I was also throughout the duration when this panel was hosted for the 3 months, because many of the panelists were not too much good performing, and these are the innovation-led panels. You have to actually come up with the next thought leadership, what world is going to see next 3 year, 4 year, 5 year. In the beginning of the 2020, that is around end of December, last December, I jumped from 3rd ranking to 1st ranking in that Force panel, and for another 1 month, this panel was opened this February 1st or 2nd, something like that. I kept in the first round of evaluation, I kept my top leadership position over there, and I was only Indian who featured throughout this time duration of the panel, and got featured as the topmost panelist. And previous to that, I was also selected in Oracle Global Panel on blockchain, and I also, due to my consistent performance in that panel, I get Oracle on many new innovations area, blockchain technology, and later I found they launched those production solution in those areas also, and I've been rated as topmost panelist in that panel also. So it's like immense pleasure to be in India, guiding the global MNCs and on the AI, the latest thought leadership for AI blockchain, which is yet not clear to many people. Many tech companies are still researching, be it IBM, be it Oracle, or be it SAP. So these are all due to my analyst background, which I picked up during my career, because after graduating from ISRI, I joined one of the reputed analyst firm, IDC International Data Corporation. I was heading their Indian Advisory and Research Division. So with this background, I'll start my presentation. So how many of you agree with this particular stuff? This industrial economy to moving towards the knowledge economy. Then another wave is going on, which is gig economy. Okay, so I think everyone agree here that we've moved from industrial economy to knowledge economy. Means more money, throughout economy, movement country. But why still India is stuck up? I know, and it's a good thing. I'm not saying industrial economy is a bad thing, but if you see, if you have to go for even 5 trillion is not a big target. US is sitting at 25 trillion economic. China is around, how much China? 1890. Yeah, there's the one slide. So still we are talking about 5 trillion. Still a lot of doubts are getting created whether we are capable of either reaching the 5 trillion mark or not. So in that case, one thing is clear that we can't be only sitting with the hope of industrial economy to take us to 5 trillion mark. So I think the knowledge economy is the latest requirement for the India, and US already claimed that's the knowledge economy. So I think India is also has to go there. So I think similarly the gig economy is also picking up globally. So now the entrepreneurship and gig economy are complement to each other. So I think in these lines only we are moving further. So if we have to grow towards the knowledge economy, the role of innovation, disruptions, and the tech innovation and the entrepreneurship becomes too critical. So here I want to play the video of this Nobel laureate, who is a professor of NYU. Okay, so he actually puts the concept of the idea and the value, how it's added to the economy. I think there is one video out of that. Is linked to this, but to you, innovation, disruption, brand, startups. Sequencing. Strategy for 5 trillion. So this is my pitch. So you all guys went to government. I say that if you solve these 4 problems, then you might target 5 trillion. Okay. So when question comes, how innovation in digital tech adds value to GDP, I will bring digital technology also, innovation also in this conversation. And I have said that in previous slide I have shown that how the many advanced countries, they have actually grown their per capita GDP through innovation. So the contribution of innovation into their GDP is much higher than what we are. I think we are not even accounting what was the innovation of India. If you search, nowhere it has been. For US you will get 50% GDP comes from innovation, very straight away accounting. And for Sweden also you have the figure 10.8 comes from 10.8% comes from the branch and intangible assets. But for India, nobody knows innovation, how much is fetching to GDP. Nobody knows. I am also looking for that data. And since data is not there, so I am now trying to create it. Okay. So moving from competition to disruption. So you asked, what is your name? Yeah? Aditya. So this is the formula, moving from competition to disruption. So you understand? So what is I was in discussion panel also, and a lot of discussions happened. What is the difference between competition and disruption? Yes. So if I start a startup or any supply, and I just focus my strategy for 2-3 figure competition and say, hey, I have done a great job. So do you think you have done a great job? No, the GDP will change? No, GDP of country will not change through competition. It may add the natural growth, like if some company is growing at 10%, 20%, there will be natural addition to the GDP. Okay. But if you have to really and seriously pursue and grow your GDP, the disruption is the strategy. And the Blue Ocean strategy, which we talk about, that's another area I'll come to. So competing versus disrupting. So any product, any new launch you can quote, which is not competing, which is disrupting. I'll come up with my own company. I have my own company example. But anyone here who can give an example of a company which is not competing but rather disrupting? Tesla. Yeah, to some extent, Jio can't be called as total disruptor. Some segment they are disrupting. mostly they are competing. They have not created a new kind of customers. So how you, they are addressing same. They came, I was previously I was taking cable and broadband from two players. In fact, Airtel was in both. Now they have only changed the technology and media. They were, Airtel was distributing through satellite, the antenna technology and DTH, and the Geo guy has come through cable. They have consolidated the cable, they have consolidated on fiber, the internet, voice, data, TV, everything. So, do you think this is the repositioning of the market on consolidation of the market, or do you think this is a disruption? I don't agree this is fully disruption. I have read article of many analysts also. They don't agree that Jio is disrupting the Indian market. They don't agree. They are only bringing the efficiency and consolidation power, right? So disruption is like catching up, creating a new set of market. I think they have not created broadband market. They have not created television market.
Tesla, sir. Google, sir. Google. Google and Tesla.
Yeah, to some extent, they have disrupted the taxi market, the traditional taxi market. You know, but the customers are same, right? New customers, new customers. So disruption, if you see the definition of the disruption, so when you find the new customers, new ideas, new market, then it's a disruption. Otherwise, competition in a new form, competing in a new form, Okay, we will come up with which are the disruptive technologies and disruptive companies. So it essentially, disruption creates higher value than competing. Competing also creates value if you are competing in a better way, but disruption creates higher value. That's many analysts have many research on this. Now disruptive tech, we will go through what are the disruptive tech. And we have discussed the relevance of brand for enhancing the GDP. I think our Indian policy makers missed this point, sir. Patro sir here, he taught us many things on branding. None of this finance ministry guide have ever thought of, how to make India a house of 1,000 global brands. That is the strategic mistake we are taking about. We are mostly the material-driven economy. Why can't we drive our economy through brands? Why we can't have? I just asked in last one decade, we just had a session before you joined. We just had a Q&A session here. How many brands? Since I passed out in 2005 years from the same college, I worked for 15 years. We'll say more than one decade. How many brands when we go globally in New York or UK? How many Indian brands we see there? So most of this class had work that they found it. Mahindra has one brand which now we are finding globally. Earlier it was Tata. So hardly 2-3 global brands from India we added in the last 15 years. But this is not done thing. We are so many students graduated from such a premier institutes, and wherever we are working, we are saying only we created 1 and 2 global brands in the last 15 years. And this is not acceptable. I think India has to work on this. We have to create thousands and thousands brands from our soil, right? Global brands, I think, and then they will add to the GDP. So the startups, what the kind of value they need to create for 5 trillion economy? So this is another question I have. Now I will quickly walk you through. So innovation, all of you must have studied and done some innovation. So these are some aspects of innovation. Now business model innovation, product innovation, technological innovation. So many aspects of innovations are there. Digital innovation. So some of the highly innovative technologies are plotted here. Okay. One aspect I would like to say, internal innovation is also very important. So I've unlike many companies, during my analyst career, I found the companies who have failed to respond to external changes. They are generally, typically get killed, however bigger it may be. So the rate of internal change should exceed external change. So how many of you agree with this? So internally you have to innovate. Your changes should be higher than what's happening outside atmosphere, right? So internal change and internally generated innovations are required to keep equilibrium under fast changing external market conditions. Internal energy of organizations should be directed towards countering of external changes happening in the market through innovation. So it is well established fact that to have growth-oriented business sustainability, rate of internal change, which comes from the internal innovations should exceed the rate of external change. Again, we are almost saying same thing. So moment internal rate of change in any organization becomes a standard stream and left behind the rate of change happening in the external world, that is market, downfall gets started. So I have studied the Fortune 500 companies which were there when the Fortune list started, and presently if you see, almost many of them are wiped out. So these are the regions, some of the regions, because they were not internally changing, and the market conditions change very fast compared to their policy decisions and their own decisions, their own response system. So I think so market is not controlled by, they think that they control the market, the bigger players, they think they control the market. But that is the misconception. The market is controlled by its customers. The market is controlled by ecosystem, right? So this is the survey of McKinsey. You see, reality is that 94% of managers surveyed said they were dissatisfied with their company innovation performance. So I'm a CEO of the company, but I'm dissatisfied that I'm not innovating enough. Because traditionally they are in firefighting mode. They are just focusing on their present day top line and bottom line. So that's the reason it happens. Now we have come to the technology-led innovation. So this is my prediction. Most innovative, when you say technology-led innovation, the most innovative technologies are blockchain, IoT, and artificial intelligence. And the most of the innovation will happen on its convergence. And this is the model defined by me, the 5-year research, the CBIA. So convergence of blockchain, IoT, and artificial intelligence. So if you see, 300 billion innovation potentials are trapped into this, and not many firms have still utilized this kind of innovation potential. So 300 billion, there is a potential of $, 300 billion innovation to happen in the convergence. So typically you see you meet some company either building some product and solution on blockchain, or they are building some products and solution on AI, building some products and solution on IoT, but they fail to understand that the biggest innovation is not one technology, but it's the converged view of the technology, the combination of technology. So at least three technology while combined. So this is the kind of opportunity it brings. So if you see in blockchain, the new disruption, new innovations are happening on the smart contracts, connected insurance. Okay, the autonomous commercial agents, the AI side. Earlier, the sales agents used to do sales and marketing. They used to understand the customer requirement. Now, with the advent of blockchain and AI, so what's happening? Even the IoT will help in that. The real time, the customer requirement will fetch to the system, and the virtual agents, they will aggregate and disaggregate the products. Now, products definition is not that going to be very hard. In fact, the products are now getting built in such a fashion that it can be configured and reconfigured in a small packets or configuration, right? And this aggregation and re-aggregation is done on the real-time market demands coming from your customer segment. So any product you are defining, it needs to be quickly configured and reconfigured. Suppose if someone wants to purchase only a small feature of product, sell them that only. You don't need to sell the entire feature. So even these decisions are getting automated. Those earlier were done through sales call or some sales meeting. These are getting integrated through the VPA, or the virtual assistant, or you can say something like virtual programs. Bots, to some extent bots is also correct word. So distributed app is coming in big way. So blockchain, distributed apps are going to empower each and every individuals. They they are not going to hook up with Amazon. Like I'm a trader, I don't need to always hook up with Amazon. Right now, all e-commerce, 4 tech biggies are controlling the entire e-commerce segment. So the blockchain, that monopoly will end. Blockchain will create value at each every node. I'm running a laptop. I'll install my distributed app in my laptop and I'll become a direct trader. I don't need to go and register on Amazon. I don't go and need a register on Flipkart. So it's a very innovative technology. At the same time, it's a disruptive technology. So here an example of disrupted innovation. So so there is another blockchain. This is how in financial side, how the blockchain is going to impact. This is the plot of that. So even banks are going to be disrupted. So until unless they very fastly move on the blockchain model, they will find irrelevant. Very soon they are going to. And there is a Gartner prediction. And I'll show you. I'll run that slide. So what's happening? Everything was centralized here earlier in earlier model. Everything, like in India, SBI controls everything. Yeah, in India, like similarly in Bank of America, US, similarly Amazon, everything was simplified. All the power was getting concentrated. They have all data, all intelligence. Now the blockchain will decentralize that. So it will destroy the powerhouse. So their CEO might be worried now, So their business model is going to end sooner or later. I know that they have the money power, they will find some new model for them, but at least the present perspective, they have been threatened due to blockchain technology. This is my analysis of impact of blockchain on retail and supply chain market. CPG retail and supply chain. So it's going to fetch, globally it is going to fetch 1.5 trillion to the end consumer. So all these values are going to be delivered. What were the value and the margin which Amazon and say like Alibaba, where they were getting in their own pockets. Now those blockchain, those values will get distributed to end consumers. So they will be the benefiters of these kind of technology, disruptive technology. 1.5 trillion to end consumers and another 1 trillion another 1 trillion to upstream supply chain disruptors. So total 2.5 trillion blockchain will inject total 2.5 trillion value to the global consumers. Okay, now similarly some value how AI will bring into GDP or economy. These are some of the estimations. So these are the global value, but there are some projected for India also. So these are the new technology which will bring value to Indian economy, and so the GDP should get uplifted. But someone has to actually work on these technologies. Someone has to actually deploy it. Someone has to actually evolve the solution and products based on these technologies. Okay, so if you see around AI has potential to add around, you can say it's roughly around 1 trillion to Indian economy in next 10-15 years. So this is the big amount. So if you don't go to AI, so this is my pie. If I go to the AI, this is my additional value. So this is what it has been plotted here. So Indian potential is highest, right? If you see here. No, I'm sorry, China has highest potential, but now China has latest disruptions, So, but the Indian potential is second to China, next to China, right? So this is another projection how AI tech is going to impact GDP. So these all parameters, quality, time save, personalized, labor productivity, these all mapped here. And in India, there is a prediction that 60% of Indian GDP to come from AI and other altered digital services. This is the Microsoft India research. They have done research with some Gartner or Forrester, right? So how many of you believe that this is the future? If you have to grow the GDP, then you have to bring the innovation and technology, innovative technology. I think now everyone convinced here?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, good, good.
60% from AI by next year seems a little efficient.
No, I think other digital services also, like fintech, other digital services, they are not only saying only AI. If you say digital India, it's already crossed 1 trillion. Already digital kind of the digital economy in India. If you already have a data on that also, I think it's already touching 1 trillion. So India GDP is 2.73. Okay, so only it's not saying only AI with other digital technology, Yeah, we will come on that question. Those are apprehension like when I started my career, the computerization was happening, then also the same kind of apprehension there. But now you see nobody live without mobile and computer, And they have found a good job in computer technology also, like IT technology also. So I think it's only realignment of the skills, it's not the killing of job. One has to realign with the new skills. That is the thing. That is the only sense of insecurity is because they don't want to change, right? So the moment they want to change to the new skills, there's nothing like insecurity, right? And this is the late professor. Who created the terminology disruptive innovation. You remember the professor just last month he died, right? Professor Christine, right? That's the right model. And last month he died, Harvard University professor, cardiac arrest. Professor, disruptive innovation. Yeah. Yeah. So, if this is from this one angle, you have explained here what is disruptive. What is disruptive move. So, like the bigger guy, they were neglecting the lower segment customers. They have found the new customers. So, for disruption, you have to, it's very necessary that you have created new market, new customer segment. So that is the difference between competing and disruption. Competing, you are mostly competing for the same customer segment. In disruption, you are finding the new customer segment. This is the framework I created for tracking for self-disruption. At a particular time, a company has to do self-disruption, in order to avoid getting disrupted from others. So how to go about self-disrupting yourself? This is the one frame created by me and my analyst, how to do self-disruption. What is the right point of doing self-disruption? What we should do next few years to self-disrupt ourselves? How self-disruption can give us future growth? We are all doing the disruption, self-disruption from growing because we got saturated in existing business models. That's what he said. There need to be right approach to find out what is the time. मेरा समय आ गया ना कि मैं अपने आप को खुद को kill कर सकता हूँ. That we have to find. Otherwise, the market forces will brutally kill. Brutally kill. I've seen the promoters are going behind the jail because they fail to understand. Recently, the Airtel and Vodafone have been they both slapped with 10,000 crore rupees due. I don't know what they did. They have killed themselves, So this being disrupted by the external forces. They could have self-disrupted themselves 5 years prior to these decisions. Those visions are missing in the company board, right? This is another prediction. Financial firms, big banks are going to be irrelevant. Yeah, sure.
lot of it talk about AI, ML, these giants in a couple of market forum and say that India needs to have their own Facebook, own Google, everything is good. But don't you feel that by this we are becoming digitized quality of the West, our every data is a distant market? We are totally open to the distant world.
No, of course, we have given access to them. Now our data is going there. But my thing is that has happened because we have not grown. You know, MD responded earlier. So like China, they have one Facebook kind of and WhatsApp kind of versions. You know.
Means what government is doing on this front? Because this has been a talk.
No, these can't be stopped by government. You know, your ecosystem has not done well. They have taken your space because you don't have any local player. You know, so you have to blame your own ecosystem rather than blaming the government.
But this is China protecting its own markets. China does
No,
not.
they have the Snapchat kind of big technology companies also, right? So they have their own technology. Now there is a prediction by the ex-Google founder CEO that in next 1 decade there will be 2 domains of internet. One is managed by US, which we are all having right now, and one is controlled by China. So India has not taken that kind of aggressiveness to grow their own digital technologies. You know? So it is. I think it is our fault rather than blaming that Facebook and Google. Right? We could have fulfilled the need of the people. People loved here. That's why they subscribe to Facebook. People loved here the concept of Google Drive, the Google Gmail account, the Hotmail, all these things. So we failed. We don't have our own startups and we don't have them on. So we can't stop our consumers and our people loving back the technology which are coming from outside. You know? Otherwise, there won't be anything. If we stop this kind of innovation coming from outside, because we are not innovating and we are stopping the outside innovation. That is not good for the even Indian people, right? So the data security and privacy, those risks are there, but at the same time, we should not shut down our the innovation coming from outside. I think 5:30 we have to go.
Yes, sir.
Maybe we have to break for one more session. Open for a coffee break or tea break, and then we will quickly resume. So this is another prediction. So all banking planning for the big banking company. You see, this is a prediction. I believe by Gartner. They were my computer when I was looking for the IEC. Their prediction by 2030. The digitization to make most of the financial firms irrelevant. You don't have banks at all, right? Because everything will be on blockchain. Everything digital tokens, Bitcoin, though is banned today, but everything will go there, You will be lending me directly over the blockchain, You don't have to go to the bank or taking a loan in sanctions, You know that, okay, rating is very good on blockchain network, let me lend directly, So these all kind of direct P2P models are going to disturb banks. So they have to, when I presented this to the finance secretary and those who heads the, most of the Indian banks report to them, they're not aware about these things. And hardly they are putting any blockchain expert in their bank boards, public sector banking board. They are typically those who are getting promoted, they are in the bank board. So these kind of people need to be there. Who can foresee the future? How the next year, 10 years down the line, the financial industry is getting disrupted. So if you see, this is another 80% will get killed in next 10 years, banking and financial sector. Only 20% will survive. That is the prediction of Gartner. It's not I'm saying. Though I do a lot of predictions also, but this is not my prediction. Do you have any question here? Okay. So what is saying? See this graph, 80% will go down. Only 20% will survive, and that too, they will survive due to collaborative effort. So the whole concept of ruining competition is no longer going to be valid in current century. You have to be collaborative with each and every player. You can't work in isolation. You can't innovate in isolation. Okay. So these are some of these are very targeted predictions towards fintech and the financial services firm. You talk about how we capture the market which have been already captured. So proven person strategy is the answer, right? you find the new space where nobody has imagined, nobody have even thought a product, nobody have actually made the customer in those areas, right? So this is my growth mantra, which I remain to 360-degree continual disruption. You have to disrupt completely, frequently. Even in my career, I have used this. I disrupted myself so many times. I said, hey, this model is not going to work. So I have disrupted. So I took a lot of challenges, but this mantra is true for corporate also, right? So you have to have multi-dimensional disruption. So these are required if you want to. Why I am showing here? Because we are discussing the traditional model. The growth is not coming. How we will become 5 trillion with the traditional model? So that's what I am bringing this picture. So until unless we don't follow these kind of interventions, it will be very difficult to touch 5 trillion dollar economy. I'll play this video and then we'll stop for a coffee break, and I will go and quickly have a meeting with you. What you say? Yeah. Oh, so then we will program right now. So one video is there. These are like top 50 disruptors of the world, from the startup world, right? I'll play this, what they are doing. When you say disrupting, what these guys are doing. So there one more video.
Number 5, Rent the Runway, continuing to transform the way women shop, dress, and now decorate their homes. The 5-time disruptor now is worth $1 billion with 11 million members.
They are not capturing
Number
existing
4,
existing
Grab. The Southeast Asian giant is expanding far beyond ride sharing, now a platform for everything related to transportation, with partnerships with the likes of Microsoft, expanding its reach into financial services and insurance. Number 3, The We Company. It rebranded from WeWork earlier this year as the co-working company pushes into apartments, hotels, and retail. Recently valued at $47 billion, the company took its first step to file to go public.
WeWork is always ready for an IPO.
Now WeWork has
Chose the
industry.
right
How
time
many
to
of you know?
and it's correct for the mission of the company.
Number 2, Didi Chuxing. Far more than just the Uber of China, Didi offers a dozen transportation options to 550 million users around the world, while its big data arm, called Didi Brain, tackles traffic and logistics. And number 1, Indigo Ag, a $3.5 billion agricultural technology startup that mixes microbiology with artificial intelligence to improve yield, sustainability, and profits for growers of commodity crops like cotton and corn. Last year, it introduced a digital platform connecting growers and buyers, tracking indigo crops from seed to table.
While agriculture is a $3 trillion plus global industry, we've seen a growing number of venture capitalists investing in companies that are applying digital technologies like artificial intelligence and machine learning to the global food system. This year's number 1 disruptor has become a leader in the ag tech revolution.
So we will skip many slides. We will come to a concluding slide. We'll come to the last slide. Many slides on which technology, what innovations, and all those things. We will skip there. Yeah. So this is the concluding slide. Yeah. So we will conclude with this. I think. Because the classes are there, and then so we want to conclude right now or yeah. So this is the concluding. With present pace of growth and business as well, India is likely to have a operating economic value of around 2 trillion during next 5 years. So the entire analysis which we did, we found that when this 5 years from 2020 to 2025. If you want to reach the 5 trillion, then cumulatively there is a shortfall of 2 trillion US dollars. So this is the whole debate of whether India can achieve 5 trillion economy or not is only there. That 2 trillion, if you find how to make up this 3 trillion loss, then I think we will be touching the 5 trillion economy by 2025. Fine. So the 2 trillion, the mathematics is very simple, it's split into 50%, that's what I've done. I've done through my analysis and with high level of confidence that 1 trillion we can gain through productivity. So like those things measured, I've said, why our farmers do not have access of those technology like I've seen, like AGTech, like NDU, which was been declared as the topmost disrupting company of the world. The last video you saw the company just announced, where they are tracking each and every seeds to plant, each and every crops, and then making sure that none of these crops get failed during the cultivation phase. This kind of productivity gain, if you gain through the technology like AI, blockchain, IoT, and AR/VR, and similarly in industry also you deploy this kind of technology. So 1 trillion more economic value you gain through higher efficiency, higher productivity, higher value add, force, business expansion, and brand equity gain also. Another mind is dying in. So 1 trillion we need to bring from deployment of this technology. And another 1 trillion we have to bring through our innovation in startups and other innovative products for building a global branch. So global branch, I said, we have to bring thousands of global branch. Not only startups but existing established companies also. So if you take these two approach, one, compensate the existing productivity loss, second, enhance the innovation and the IP and the export to global branding. 1 trillion from here, 1 trillion from here, 2 trillion allied to your economy next 5 years, and whatever shortfall you have, I think that you are going to fight us out, achieving the target. So I'm very optimistic, but only thing is we need to do so many things in next 5 years for that. So innovation driven disruptive tech startups of India also have potential to be 5 years. So it's not only the established firm, but the startups have also have to bring 1 trillion both economic value. With this, I am coming towards the end. If you have any question, you can ask right now, or we can send mail also. Okay, so any questions? Hopefully, this made some difference to your knowledge or your experience.
Thank you, sir, for such an insightful session.